Now, what is the oldest civilization in the world? You must have heard about Mesopotamia, or the cradle of civilization between the river Tigris and Euphrates. But that was not the first place where people settled down, took up agriculture, and started raising cattle. That honor goes to India. Between the 7th century BC and 4th century AD, the Indian subcontinent was home to at least two great empires, the Mauryas and the Guptas. The Mauryas were succeeded by the Kushans, the Guptas by the Vakatakas. In the 6th century AD, the first great empires of India, which we call classical empires, emerged. These included the Chalukyas of Vatapi, the Pandyas of Madurai, the Cholas of Thanjavur, the kings of Kashmir and Nepal, and several others. They ushered in a golden age in Indian history, an age which produced some of the best-known monuments of India, like the Kailasa Temple at Ellora, the Ajanta Caves, and many more. Yet in this vast and varied subcontinent, another culture was taking shape, one that would soon challenge the very foundations of the Vedic religion. We're talking about Buddhism. Now, where did it come from? How did it grow so big and powerful? Let's find out. Gautam Buddha was born into royalty. His father was the ruler of a small kingdom in present-day Nepal. His mother was a princess. So obviously his life started off on a comfortable note, and here's where the story takes a turn. On the night of his birth, the gods announced that the child would become an ascetic, a man who renounces worldly pleasures for spiritual pursuits. His parents were understandably worried. They didn't want their son to abandon luxury and comfort for a life of penance and hardship, so they shielded him from any such influences. They hired the best teachers to educate him, and the brightest minds to mentor him. As a young man, he married a beautiful princess and had children of his own. Life could have been more idyllic than this. But something was missing. He couldn't quite put his finger on it. At the age of 29, while riding through the kingdom, he saw an old man for the first time. It troubled him deeply. Until then, he had assumed that old age was non-existent. Seeing that frail, withered form filled him with dread. What if he too would become like that one day? Was there any meaning to a life that inevitably ended in misery and decay? These questions tormented him, so he decided to find answers. He renounced his kingdom, left wife and children behind, and became an ascetic. He lived among hermits, meditated under trees, but nothing satisfied him. So he started traveling all over northern India, seeking answers from wandering philosophers. Again, nothing satisfied him. Finally, he decided to do it all himself. He sat down to meditate under the Bodhi tree. There he attained enlightenment. It was here that he discovered 4 simple truths about life. Life is full of suffering. The cause of suffering is attachment. Suffering can end when attachment ends, and the way to overcome attachment is the 8-fold path. This path included right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These 8 steps, he taught, would lead to nirvana, a state of perfect peace and happiness. Nirvana, he said, is the ultimate goal of life. Now, Buddha was 49 when he delivered his first sermon at Sarnath. One of his former classmates was in the audience. His name was Sariputra. He became Buddha's first convert, and soon other followers joined them. Over the years, Buddha's ideas spread far and wide, but he never organized his followers into a formal institution. He didn't want clergy or temples or rituals. His ideas were simple enough to be practiced by anyone, anywhere. After his death, his followers started getting organized. They built monasteries and established centers of learning. Buddhist monks traveled all over Asia, translating Buddhist texts into different languages. Buddhism split into 2 branches, Theravada and Mahayana. Theravada literally means the teaching of the elders. It still survives in countries like Thailand, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Cambodia. Mahayana has many schools, and it is followed mainly in China, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam. Meanwhile, in India itself, Buddhism continued to thrive, especially during the reign of the Mauryan Empire. The Mauryan Empire. Now let's talk about the Mauryas. The first Mauryan emperor was Chandragupta Maurya. Under him, the empire stretched from the Iranian border in the west to the Bay of Bengal in the east, and from the Himalayas in the north to the Narmada River in the south. To maintain law and order, he appointed provincial governors and a spy agency. He recruited an army of 600,000 soldiers, including elephants trained for war. When Seleucus, the ruler of the Greek kingdom of Seleucia, invaded India, he crushed him. Chandragupta handed over the empire to his son Bindusara. Bindusara sent ambassadors to distant lands like Egypt and Greece to establish trade relations. He also invited Greek merchants to visit India. The third Mauryan emperor was Ashoka. His empire stretched from Afghanistan in the west to the eastern regions of modern Odisha in the east, and from the Himalayas in the north to the 4th century. Tamil kingdom of Koshala in the south. Under him, the empire reached its greatest extent. Ashoka came to power after the Kalinga War. He was shocked by the violence and bloodshed. It turned him against warfare. He renounced violence and became a follower of Buddhism. From then on, war became a dirty word in Ashoka's dictionary. He issued a series of edicts throughout his empire, preaching the values of Buddhism. His edicts were inscribed on rocks and pillars in different scripts so that people of different regions could read them. These edicts are now known as the Ashoka inscriptions. They reveal much about his personality, his social and economic policies. He, for instance, believed in the welfare of his subjects. He set up hospitals for humans and animals. He dug wells, set up rest houses, and planted trees on roads. He encouraged the practice of ahimsa, or non-violence, and introduced a decimal system. The Mauryan Empire collapsed in the 3rd century BC. According to historians, the collapse may have been caused by over-administration, over-taxation, and internal rebellions. Next came the Guptas. The Gupta Empire was established by Maharaja Shrigupta. His son was the famous Chandragupta I. He assumed the title of Maharaja, which until then was used only by the Mauryas and the Cholas. His son Samudragupta was the real architect of the empire's glory. He was a great warrior. He defeated kings all over northern India and expanded his empire. His empire extended from the Sun River in the north to the Kaveri River in the south, and from the Arabian Sea in the west to the Bay of Bengal in the east. His successors were less ambitious. They focused on administration and cultural development rather than military expansion. The most powerful Gupta ruler was Chandragupta II. He ruled for 46 years. During his reign, the empire reached its greatest extent. It also ushered in what we call the Golden Age of classical India. The Golden Age was a period of peace and prosperity. Trade and commerce flourished. Towns and villages bustled with activity. Agriculture was highly developed. Farmers grew a variety of crops. New tools and techniques improved productivity. The cotton gin, for instance, made the life of farmers easier. The art of making steel was perfected. Powerful guilds dominated trade and commerce. Merchants traveled all over Asia, even to distant lands like Ethiopia and Arabia. Foreign merchants also visited India. Some of them settled down and became Indian citizens. Most of them came from Southeast Asia. Gupta rulers patronized art and literature. They built magnificent temples and contributed generously to the building of Buddhist viharas and Jain shrines. Gupta artists excelled in sculpture and painting. The world-famous bronze sculpture of the 5th century AD, the Dancing Girl, is from this period. The Gupta era witnessed a flowering of literature. The epic poems, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, were written during this period. Other notable works include the plays of Kalidasa, the hymns of Apayadas, and the scientific treatise of Varhamihira. The Gupta Empire fell apart in the 6th century AD. Historians say it was because of over-administration, weak successors, and attacks from outside. And just like that, we come to the end of Part 2. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more updates. Take care and see you next time.